Hi, guys. Ninja's meowing at me, so she's going to help me with this. So why am I doing a video right now? Hopefully a lot of people won't actually watch this one. This is mostly just for my own motivation to get myself started on this project, which might be a dumb project, or it might be a good project, or it might be, I don't know, I might give up on it in 2 days. Who knows? Because, that's kind of how the kitty do. But a few weeks ago I said I was going to start doing a video series where once a day I would do a video and tell you what I was doing. I've gone to a lot of writing conventions and I've been in a lot of groups where they say, okay, well, if you want to be successful as a writer, you put stuff on Kindle Unlimited, or you self-publish, or you start a Kickstarter, or you do short stories, or you get into anthologies. You get a lot of different advice. And it tends to be in like one little sentence. It's like, well, your first step is do a Kickstarter. But how do you do a Kickstarter? How do you set that up? How do you get it out to people? How do you market it? Or self-publish, put something on Kindle. Well, what's the process behind that? Do you write an outline first? Are you an outlining kind of person? Are you a pantser? Are you an architect? I don't know. And then once you have something written, do you edit? Do you not edit? Where do you get your covers from? How much do covers cost? Where do you get the money to pay for those covers? And when you put it on Kindle Unlimited, how do you market it? How do you get people to come read it? How many books do you really need to have a successful series? There are groups where they talk about this, but it's always people who've already been successful kind of telling you what they did. And I've noticed that people who are already successful, when they're telling you about their success, they gloss over the hard parts. They gloss over the shitty parts. They gloss over those moments when they almost quit, or when they did quit for a couple days, or when they cried, or when something was so difficult that they had to ask for help. So often when people tell you about their success, and they're talking about it like the success they had in the past, they paint themselves, especially writers, and this isn't a slight to writers. I'm a writer, so I embellish the crap out of things to make myself into the epic hero. But writers tend to make themselves into the epic hero. They're like, well, what I did was I worked 8 hours a day and I wrote this book and I, bootstraps. And they're not forgetting, hey, my mom actually gave me $2,000 to fund this. Or I was married and my wife worked a full-time job, or my husband or whatever, my partner worked a full-time job and supported us, so I didn't have to work, so I was able to do this. Or I had an inheritance, or I had a mentor that helped me. So people don't really, since they're writing themselves into their own story as the epic hero, they don't talk about how they got help. They don't talk about the points where they thought they were going to fail. They don't really get into the gritty parts of it. And I find that super intimidating. I find it really, really disheartening when a famous writer or famous or successful anybody gives me a 2 or 3 sentence summary of their success. When they say, well, what I did was I wrote the book and then I put it on Kindle Unlimited and then I marketed it and success. I need that step 2. I can't have step 1, write a book. Step 2, ... Step 3, profit. I want to see this step 2. And so that's kind of what I'm going to try to do with this video series. Why am I doing a video series instead of just doing this myself? Let's go over here to answer that. And I'll also answer why it took me 2 weeks to get around to this instead of just doing it. So about 2 weeks ago, I put it in my planner, start making these videos. And the reason why I wanted to make videos is I'm not motivated by maybe. I'm not motivated by the idea of spending 2 or 3 months alone, in solitude, doing all this work myself and trying to write a book to maybe eventually put it on Kindle or somewhere, to maybe publish it. And then if I do publish it, to maybe get my money back, to maybe be successful. I'm just not motivated by maybe. And I feel like a lot of people are probably that way. Some people aren't. Some people are incredibly self-motivated and they have this drive and they have this passion and they have confidence. I don't have a ton of confidence in that. Not that I don't have confidence in my writing. I actually think I'm a pretty good writer. I can make up shit with the best of them. Like, I can make up some shit. I can just be like pulling things out of the air and be like, and then Cthulhu got a dog, and you're gonna be with me. You're gonna be following along. But I'm not motivated by that maybe. And the sort of lottery component about whether or not you're going to be successful. So the reason I'm doing these videos is I am motivated by the idea of helping someone else. That sounds more altruistic than it is. Like, this is probably a psychological disorder from a troubled childhood. This is not something I'm choosing. I am a people pleaser, a pretty intense people pleaser. I do things because I want the people I care about to be happy. I volunteer for things all the time. I go out of my way to do things for my friends because that's where I get my actualization. Oh, I did not say that word right. That's where I get my self-esteem from, is by being able to look at something I did for someone else and say, hey, I helped that guy. By going over to this person's house and helping them with their garden, I made their life easier. By giving my friend $20, I made their life easier. By, being the person you come to when you're sad, I made your life easier. And so I hit upon the idea that I could do this video series and I could work really hard at it. I could work really hard at writing the outline and doing the research and reading the books and then writing a book of my own and publishing it and all of this stuff. And even if I'm not successful, like even if I write a book and it's crap, even if I write a book and nobody reads it except for, maybe people who are interested in me romantically, because that's the thing. You gotta use that kind of stuff. Be like, hey, I can't go out on a date with you unless you buy my book. It's totally fine to do that. So even if I fail at being successful at the end of whatever this project ends up being, any technical knowledge that I figure out along the way can still be helpful to somebody else. If I figure out all the steps required to do a Kickstarter and I do a video and I'm like, these are all the steps I just did today, somebody can find that and make a Kickstarter. Or if I'm like, okay, these are all the steps necessary to format a book for Kindle Unlimited, and I do that, then maybe if you write a better book than me, you can do that and you can be successful. And so that's kind of why I did that. The reason I've been putting it off was because I kept saying, well, you got to have a plan first. You have to decide what you're going to say in your little dumb videos. You have to go ahead and make a to-do list. You have to go ahead and make an outline. You have to go ahead and read a couple of these books beforehand. But that was just procrastinating. That was just me getting in my own way. So I did do a little bit of like a little plan thing here, and I actually have the plan from, no, that's not it. Where did I put it? Well, darn. I just had this a minute ago. I actually made a plan of how I was going to write and release a whole bunch of books on Kindle. I did it back after the Superstars Writing Seminar, which I go to every year in Colorado. And I made this plan because I had dinner and talked to Michael Anderle while I was up there, who's very, very successful. He's in the 20 books to 50K group. And like, he's made a ton of money by doing the things that he's done. And he has a really good group. You can join that if you want some information on how he did it. Craig Martell's in there. But, like, there were other people at this thing. Like, I think Dakota Kraut was there. I didn't really talk to him. But there were several other, like, super successful, super, like, money-making, hardcore people there. You know, I really cannot find this thing. I literally did just have it. Oh, well, I guess that's not important. But it was like a little thing like this, and it had all the release dates I was going to do. And this whole thing, like the Superstars Convention seminar, was in February. And then I came home and I immediately wrote this thing, and I started reading some books on Kindle Unlimited, and I started really working on it. I made out this schedule. And then the coronavirus thing happened, and I just was like, I don't care anymore. Just like, was like, I give up. Which is probably not the best way to deal with that, but I just didn't ever get back into it. So now I'm getting back into that. So far, my goal is just to make these videos. That's the only goal I'm laying out here in video number 0. Hopefully by tomorrow I will have filled this out. Like, I've already filled out this one where I'm like asking myself questions like what motivates you? What are your actual goals? And hopefully tomorrow I will have answered those and we'll have an actual goal other than just make videos. So far what I have on here is, what is the goal? Is it to write a novel for Kindle Unlimited? Is it to make a profit? Is it to be a successful writer? And if so, what does that mean? If, like, for me, is success money? I would have to say no. I'm not money motivated. Not that I don't want money. Like, I definitely want money. And I definitely want to do useful and satisfying work. But I have a disconnect between those two things. Like, I want to do useful and satisfying work. And I want money. But I don't particularly like getting money for doing useful and satisfying work. That's probably something I need to work on. I get a lot more pleasure or a lot more self-esteem or whatever out of just doing work. Like, I enjoy work for the sake of work. And once I've added a financial component, sometimes that's enough to make me actually stop doing it. Like, I used to write a lot more before the first time I got paid. Once I started getting paid for writing, I was like, oh, this is gross. So that's a thing. But maybe number of publications is what it would be for me. Maybe getting into a lot of anthologies would make me feel successful. Maybe winning some awards would make me feel successful. I don't know. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on coming up with a goal. And then I'm going to do a video every day. And if this goes well, I'll probably talk about technical stuff. I'll talk about my process. I'll talk about the books I'm reading. I also plan on having maybe some guests. Maybe I could get some of these successful indie writers to come on here. Maybe I could get some publishers who do anthologies or who do podcasts to come on here and talk about what it is they're looking for and how they think that somebody can really do something in the industry. Maybe I'll have other writer friends who are on the same sort of journey as me. Maybe some people I've worked with in the past. I have, I sold a story to an anthology that's coming out in February. Maybe some of the people in that anthology would like to come on and talk about something. I don't know. But anyway, so that's what I have. I have a little bit of a little to-do list brain dump of trying to figure out what genre am I going to do this in. Is it going to be horror? Is it going to be fantasy? Is it going to be urban fantasy? I don't know. And then I have just a list of possible tasks that I could do, like start this video. I've succeeded. Or do an outline, buy a word processor. A lot of these things I'm not actually going to do because it was just a brain dump. I was just writing down anything I could think of. So that's what we have so far. And for like transparency of this, I have $0 to put into buying book covers, editing, marketing. I'm not coming with nothing. I don't have a wealthy family. I'm not going to be like, I'm an orphan. I don't have parents. So I'm not getting anything from my mom and dad. I don't really have siblings that are going to be able to help me out. So I'm starting from scratch, basically. The only not from scratch thing is I do have some presence. Is that the right word here? I feel like presence is probably the right word. Like, people in the industry kind of know me. Like, some people who are publishers and who are writers would recognize my name. And I've done narrations for Pseudopod, and I've done a hosting for Podcastle, and I've been published a couple times. You can't really see it, but there's like some of my work back there. And you know, I'm in like writing seminars. So that's the only thing that I have that's an advantage that's coming into this. So if you're watching this and you're starting at 0 and you don't have that advantage, then that's the thing that I have up on you right now, is that I have connections. Oh, that's what I'm going to use. I have connections. I've networked. So maybe that would have been step 0. I don't know. We'll see if I'm successful or not. And if I'm not, then maybe networking was actually not at all necessary to being a successful writer. So we're going to see what happens, guys. And I think I'm done with this for now. What I'm going to do with these is I'm putting them on Facebook Live as I do them. I like live because I'm not a big fan of scripting, and I want it to be as legitimate as possible. So like, if I'm having a really awful day, you're going to see me in my pajamas, weeping, snot coming out of my nose, like talking about how I wish I were dead. So you can look forward to that, because that's almost certainly going to happen. It'll be hot if you're into snot. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to do these live. They're going to be unscripted, and I'm just going to tell you what I'm up to. And given my personality, and given that sometimes I have bouts of depression, I'm not going to I want to promise that this is going to be every day. I really, really, really want to promise that this is going to be every day. But if for some reason I skip a day, I'm not going to like emotionally abuse myself over that. And I don't want you to either. Sometimes you skip a day. Sometimes you miss a day. Sometimes life is hard. So, but I'll definitely be back tomorrow. I mean, unless I die in the night, which is always a possibility. If so, that would make a really good short horror story, and you have my permission to use this video and like add murderers in the window or whatever. Whoever wants to get to that first, you can use this as like found footage. You know, if I die in the night. You'll probably have to fight with my niece, because she already has all my like life rights. So y'all can work that out. Just cut her in on it. And I think that's it for today. So I guess I will be back here tomorrow with a goal. And then we're going to go from there. Probably nobody got this far in watching it. I probably wouldn't have. I'm not quite that charming. But anyway, if you did, thank you for watching. I love you. You're my biggest fan. And I do all of this for you. That's so sappy. I do it for you. So if I do like write a book or something, if you've made it all the way to the end of this, let me know. And like, I'll give you a signed copy or something if I'm at all financially successful and that doesn't put me further into the red. So, okay. Probably not all of you. Maybe only like the first 5. Who knows? No, 5 people aren't going to get this far. Anyway, that's it for today, and I will talk to you tomorrow, children. And I'm going to stop being live.